Welcome. This is the final review, this second part. For the IM1 honors class here, we're going to cover 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Alright, number 6. It says Kaiser High School ASB Club is selling tickets to the homecoming dance. They plan on charging $5 per student with the ASB sticker and $7 for students without the ASB sticker. The school gym that is set up for the dance can only hold at most 600 students, so you cannot have more than 600 students. Okay, after they set up all the decorations, the club needs to make at least $350 to break even. Which system describes the situation? We have all these here. Alright, so first of all, you have to define your variables. So I'm going to define X here as the students with the ASB stickers and Y here as the students without ASB stickers, right? Because again, everything here depends on the students that are attending, okay? That's how you know those are the variables to define. So next you want to define your equations. There needs to be two equations here. The first one is going to be the amount of people, and the next one is going to be the price equation. Okay, again, because the first one talks about money, dollars. That's going to be the price equation, and then the last one holds 600 students is the people equation. All right, so the first one, I would say this is the people equation. X plus 5. And look, it says at most 600 students, so that is why it is the less than or equal to 600. Next, the price equation, 5x, because that is the price, 5x, 7y, because 7 was also the price, $350. It says make at least $350 to break even, so they could make greater than or equal to $350. You have to look at the wording of the question for it to make sense. All right, so there you go. That one would be valid because it would be C. Good job. Okay, again, look at the keywords, make sure you define your variables, set up your two equations, okay, and the keywords here should help you determine which of the inequalities you are using. Alright, let's look at 7. Using the image to the right, which region represents the solution? Y equals negative 2x minus 4, and y is less than or equal to x minus 1. I'm going to have the two equations. I would color code them to make your life easy, right? Notice that the blue one is on bottom. It has the y-intercept of negative 1, and that's also a positive slope. The red one here is the y-intercept is negative 4. It also goes down, right, which is negative slope. Very easy to graph, okay? If you need help, pull up in decimals or graph it in your graphing calculator, okay? All right, next you want to test this 0.00. I saw that once I plug in 0, 0, 0 is not less than negative 4. I said this is a false, so I shade on the side of truth. That's why I'm shading on the left side, away from the 0, 0. Next I test 0, 0 for the blue one, and I saw that's also false. So you see how I'm going to shade away from that as well. Okay, right, away from the 0, 0. So the point that they intersect is the location C, which is the solution that is valid for the system of the equation. Oh, sorry, not equation. Inequality. Inequality. Okay, good. Remember, make sure you test 0, 0. Okay, so the region would be C here. All right, let's look at 8. The maximum capacity at a school gym for a rally is 540 people. So far, there are 24 ASB students already in the gym. Which inequality can be solved to show the total number of people that can still enter the school gym rally? So you have a total of 554 people. And so far, by saying that there's 24 ASB students, means you already know a value of 24. So that's why you have this value of 24. Okay? P is the amount of students that you don't know. Now, the maximum capacity is 550. We already have that. So the only difference between any four of these options are the inequalities. So you have to look at the word maximum capacity. What does that mean? Is that a less than or equal to? No, less than or greater than. Okay? So are you allowed to have 540 people? Are you allowed to have 504 people? Yes. You can include, you have to include the 540 person. 539 is allowed. The 540 person is allowed. The 541 person is not allowed. But you are allowed to have the 540 person. Okay? That's why it it's one of these options. Okay, it has to have the equal to. Now the question is it less than 540 or greater than 540? Right? So again, it has to be less than 540 people. That's why the answer would be A. Okay? It has to be less than 540 people. Okay? All right, let's look at the next one. 9. All right, Boston is tracking his road trip 220. He covers 800 miles on the first 3 days. Then the next week he slows down so he can see more of the scenery and wildlife. So he only covers 40 miles in that time. On his last 2 days, he saw he was really behind, so he went over the speed limit and covered 100 miles. Which graph represents Boston's trip? All right, so here we have a bunch of these, right? So let's just go over it really quick. What like the difference? Oops, sorry. What the difference between some of these are. B makes no sense because if it goes from 0, then he goes 80 miles in 3 days. Why does he come back to 0? Does not make sense. Okay, remember his trip is continuous, right? His distance is continuous, so this should be continuous here. It's not supposed to have these breaks. Okay. Here, this seems like he was going at a constant rate, right? It seems like he was going 3 days, 40 miles, right? 6 days, 80 miles, right? Seems like he was going constant rate. Did not in the scenario, doesn't seem like he was going constant rate, right? He was going really fast, he slowed down, then he went really, really fast at the end, right? So it looks like it's only left to C and D. The easiest way is just to look at these at the intersections. The third day, the y-intercept, at the third day, which is 3x, he went 80 miles. Here in the second day, he went 80 miles. Right here, he covered 30 miles in the first day. That's why you should automatically say C. D makes no sense because he said in the second day he covered 80 miles. So again, make sure you look at the axes, right? Also here, it seems like he went 240. Makes no sense because his road trip was only 220 miles. 220 miles. Okay? Good? Alright. This one wouldn't make sense because he wouldn't even make the 220 miles. Alright. Let's look at number 10. Consider this function. Which of the statement is following true? Right, this is a geometric sequence, right? Using the zero term, that is the zero term equation for the geometric sequence, right? This is the equation that we have. So I want to tell you that the zero term is 5, and the common difference or the common ratio is 3 in this context. So you're going to fill in a chart to make your life easier, right? You start with 5, then you times 3, right? Because this is right. That would be times 3. That's how you got 15. Times 3 again is 45. Times 3 again is 135. Times 3 again is 405. Right? So 2 is wrong because 0.5 is the y-intercept. Right? And we would say 3 is true. Right? The reason why 3 is true is because at 2 it is 45. And it is a function, so it is continuous. So the answer, it is C. Right? We would say 1 and 3 are correct. And wait, was that it? Yep, that is number 10. The next part, I will be covering the rest. Okay? All right.